Well, after the beginning of the Russo-Ukrainian war, many European countries started already increasing spending on defense, especially countries that are closer to Russia or border Russia in a way. For example, like the Baltic countries, like Poland, these countries began to increase defense spending. And Poland always, for example, had a substantially high amount or rate of defense spending. Poland spends over 4% of its GDP on defense, for example. That's why Trump is a big fan of what the Poles are doing at the moment, and that's understandable because they fear that the war in Ukraine might spill over into their territories, and especially, for example, the Baltic countries used to be part of the Soviet Union and historically were part of the Russian Empire. And some inside Russia do suggest that these countries should be reclaimed in order to strengthen Russia's hegemony and control over the Baltic Sea. However, of course, this is highly unlikely because these countries are part of the NATO alliance, and Russia would never go and preemptively attack a NATO country, no matter what the Western media's propaganda likes to spread and spew all the time. Russia, I think, and I staunchly believe, would never attack a NATO country, because this would unleash a third world war that will basically unleash a full-fledged apocalypse. So I don't think anyone wants that. However, if NATO disintegrates, and if the U.S. lessens its commitments to NATO, and if the U.S. is not seen as a reliable partner of NATO, then this might be a big problem. And that's why the European Union and even France, during the first Trump presidency, led the charge in the idea of creating a European army, either increasing European contribution within the NATO framework, or even creating a parallel defense and security framework for the EU. However, of course, the United States will never allow this. The United States wants to exercise complete control over the defense strategy and policy of the European Union for their own strategic interests, and of course that's understandable. So going back to your question, Hani, I think these countries will spend substantially more on their militaries, and this is actually an ongoing trend in the world. Russia, even, of course, because it's in a state of war, Russia's defense spending in 2024 exceeded $140 billion. Russia produces munitions and weapons that are times and times more than the entire European Union produces. And this alarming fact was raised by NATO's Marco Rutte, the NATO Secretary General. However, when he was the Prime Minister of the Netherlands just a few months ago, we did not see him racing to increase the defense spending of the Netherlands. So it's rather laughable how he acts right now. Oh, everyone has to increase spending. So it's just ludicrous and outrageous. However, of course, from a logical standpoint, no matter how silly Rutte is, they do have a vested interest in increasing spending, and Trump will apply huge pressure on NATO countries to increase spending, and they will.
Mhm.